I think everything begins with all of us as coaches of jiu-jitsu taking a hard look at what are the unique aspects of jiu-jitsu that differentiate it from other grappling games in the standing position. When you look at the sport of jiu-jitsu in the standing position, you see that there are substantial differences between the other great grappling arts that stand alongside jiu-jitsu: judo, wrestling, sambo, and et cetera, et cetera. Let's start looking at some of those differences. I'm going to start with an obvious one. If you look at judo, sambo, and wrestling, amplitude in a takedown counts for a lot. In judo, it actually counts for everything. When we talk about the amplitude of a takedown, that's the degree of force and height achieved in a given takedown. Wrestling and judo in particular, but most other grappling styles as well, reward amplitude. The bigger and more powerful the throw, the more you score. The weaker and less powerful the throw, the less you score. Okay, so in judo, they have the notion of an ippon throw. That's the maximum score. That's like their version of like a knockout punch. Okay, you throw someone hard, flat on their back, with force and projection, it's over, it's done, okay? In wrestling, they have grades of points for throws, okay? You can score a takedown, which scores in international freestyle wrestling, currently it scores 2. You can have a 3-point takedown where there's certain criteria are met, and you can have a 5-point takedown. That's where the feet go higher than the hips and shoulders, and you drop the guy down with force and projection with his back towards the floor. And so you see that takedowns are graded according to the amount of amplitude that they express. In jiu-jitsu, no reward for amplitude. There's 0 reward for amplitude. The smallest takedown in jiu-jitsu scores the same as the biggest takedown. If Bernardo picked me up and slammed me flat on my back with a beautiful takedown, he scores 2 points. If Bernardo trips my ankle and I fall gently on my butt, it's the same, 2 points, okay? So jiu-jitsu does not reward amplitude. Every takedown scores the same. They're all 2 points. Second key difference. Most grappling styles reward risk. Okay, if you look at wrestling, you look at judo, they want you to take risks for a big throw. The rules push you towards risk. You can turn your back on someone in judo and make a big attempt at a throw, and if it fails, the rules will protect you. The referee will protect you. Okay, if I screw up an ippon seoinage in a judo match and I fall to my knees in front of my opponent, he jumps on my back and gets his hooks in, how many points does he score? 0. Nothing. Not a thing, not a dime. Okay? In jiu-jitsu, he scores 4 points. And now he's in a position to finish me. If I screw up a throw, I just have to protect myself belly down for 3 to 4 seconds and I'm fine. In jiu-jitsu, the ref's not going to come and help you. You put your belly down in jiu-jitsu, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble, okay? So wrestling and judo, and to a lesser degree sambo, protect you for taking risks. Jiu-jitsu punishes risk, okay? The whole idea of jiu-jitsu is to punish risk. They want you to play a conservative game that gets you into dominant positions on the ground, in particular the mounted position and the rear mounted position. They're not looking for risk-taking maneuvers where you expose your back to your opponent. If you take risks in jiu-jitsu with position, you will be severely punished, and no one's going to come to help you. The ref is going to look at you and be like, yep, dig yourself out of that grave. Okay, so there is a fundamental difference between the standing position in jiu-jitsu, which severely punishes risk, versus judo and sambo and wrestling, which actively promote risk in the effort to get you throwing big, high-amplitude throws, okay? So that's one of the biggest differences between jiu-jitsu in the standing position and all the other grappling styles.
No, that makes a lot of sense, John. And I think this makes much harder for everybody to learn, right? Because you want to learn how to take someone down, but you also don't expose your back or something like that. So then you ended up going to the easiest takedowns to learn. So the lapel drag, that was great.
Now, Bernardo, I would say the third biggest difference between jiu-jitsu in the standing position and all the other great grappling styles of the world is that in jiu-jitsu, we only value the outcome of a takedown. In judo, the takedown itself is what is valued. Okay, it's the takedown that has the value. Same in wrestling. In jiu-jitsu, only the outcome of the takedown is valued. It's how you finish after the takedown that counts.
Yeah, because that makes a lot of sense, John. Because if the person doesn't stay 3 seconds in the ground, you don't even get the points.
Now, that 3-second rule doesn't get a lot of discussion in jiu-jitsu, but it has the deepest significance for the standing position in jiu-jitsu. In order to score in jiu-jitsu, you got to hold them down on their side, their back, or their butt for 3 seconds. Now, Bernardo, you know this better than anyone else. In a fight, 3 seconds is an eternity. It's a long, long time.
Especially when you're...
Like, it's not easy to hold someone down for 3 seconds immediately after a takedown when both of you are kind of unstable. 3 seconds, I'll say this again, it's very important. 3 seconds in a fight is a freaking eternity. And it's not easy to score under those conditions. Now, in judo and wrestling, it's the takedown itself which is valued. And so, let's say, for example, in wrestling, if I snap someone down to the ground and I go behind them, all I have to do is touch their knee on the floor and I score. In jiu-jitsu, I got to touch their knee on the floor and hold it there for 3 freaking seconds. That's hard. That's not easy at all. Okay. If I throw someone, I got to make sure that they stay down, either on their back or if they turn to their belly with one knee on the floor, 3 seconds. And this is not an easy set of conditions to fulfill.
And another thing, like the mat size in jiu-jitsu is much smaller than in judo and wrestling, especially when it's not the finals or the semifinals. So on those 3 seconds, the guy can
go out of bounds,
run away, and then you start standing again. So.
Now, ostensibly, you're not supposed to flee the mat like that, but there's ways to disguise it. You
can play in the corners.
Absolutely. There's definitely ways to do this. So scoring, it's not easy. Always remember, guys, in jiu-jitsu, it's the outcome of the takedown which is valued. I'll say it to you this way. Jiu-jitsu doesn't care about the takedown. Jiu-jitsu cares about what happens 3 seconds after the takedown. That's what jiu-jitsu cares about. In judo, your back touches the ground with force and impact, boom, it's over. Good night. You're out. Okay? In jiu-jitsu, that's where things start. Your back touches the ground, now there's 3 seconds, and we're going to see where things finish. And at the end of those 3 seconds, that's what counts. So I'll say it to you again. One of the biggest differences between jiu-jitsu and the other standing grappling arts is the idea that it's the outcome of the takedown. Specifically, 3 seconds after the takedown occurs, that's what's valued, not the takedown itself. And this strongly differentiates jiu-jitsu in the standing position from the other grappling arts.
Yeah, no, that was a great point, John.
Now, Bernardo, the fourth great difference between jiu-jitsu and in particular judo is the idea that there is a whole category of takedowns in jiu-jitsu that don't even occur in judo. These are takedowns where you take someone down to a prone position on their hands and knees. In judo, if I throw someone down to their hands and knees, it doesn't score anything. It's 0. In jiu-jitsu, that scores 2 points, the same as a takedown where you throw them on their back. You just got to hold their knees down on the floor, at least one knee, for 3 seconds. But there is a whole category of takedowns in jiu-jitsu that don't even exist in judo. Like, it's substantially different. Jiu-jitsu has 2 forms of takedowns. Front takedowns, where I face my opponent and I throw him usually towards his back, and takedowns where we're chest to back when we begin, where I'm behind my opponent and I take him down to his hands and knees. So this whole second category of takedowns don't even exist in the sport of judo, but we as jiu-jitsu students must be highly competent in these. They score the same points and they occur just as often. And so this is another important way in which jiu-jitsu differentiates from other grappling styles, judo in particular.
Jiu-jitsu is changing. One of the key elements of this change is the much greater emphasis on standing position than was the case for earlier generations of jiu-jitsu athletes. A natural question to ask is this: how can I speed my progress in this area of the game so that I can become effective in the least possible time? This video is a response to this question. By distilling technique and tactics down to 4 crucial interrelated skill sets, athletes can make surprising progress in a relatively short time. Even at the highest levels of jiu-jitsu, I have taken athletes who never used no-gi standing technique and within months made them highly effective against championship opponents. I believe that following the same protocols and principles, you can experience similar rates of progress and make yourself effective in standing position and technique.